Hey guys, welcome to the False Line Podcast here with episode 190. This is your host, Alvaro. 10 episodes away from 200 episodes, which is really, really insane. Today's episode, we're going to talk about UFC Fight Night this weekend, happening tomorrow night. And then we're going to talk about a little bit of Islam, Tom Aspinall, Charles, Henry, Sean, a little bit of boxing. You know, Francis Ngannou's fight got announced against Joshua. And I just want to talk a little bit about Devin Haney and Ryan, the little feud they got going on as well. So a little bit about everything. Hopefully this one's not too long as the last one. So let's get right into it. We have UFC Fight Night going down on Saturday. Very exciting fight night. And this is a fight that, you know, we were supposed to see at UFC 294, and that was in October. So roughly about 3 months ago, this fight was originally made, and I'm talking about Johnny Walker and Ankalaev. But before I get right into that one, I do want to also mention that Manuel Kape is fighting on the co-main against Matheus, Nicolau. Not too really familiar with Nicolau, but I am familiar with Manuel Kape. If you guys don't remember, you know, he kind of was trying to beef with Israel Adesanya, which I thought was pretty weird because, you know, I think he fights at, featherweight, or I don't know what weight class, or bantamweight. I'm not really too sure, but it's either 125, 135, but I'm pretty sure it's 125. And he was trying to beef with Israel Adesanya, and I thought that was weird, but it was kind of ballsy from him, not gonna lie. And he stood his ground, and he was standing on business and everything, right? So it just kind of gives him a little bit more of excitement, and it looks like he has that spark in him. So it's going to be exciting to see him fight. And he fought Pantoja in the past, lost to Pantoja. And Manuel Kape, and I mean, this guy Nicolau, I mean, I think he's ranked number 5. He's up there in the ranks for sure, top 10. And we all know the power that Kape has. So I'm going to just have to go with Kape, but again, I'm not too familiar with Nicolau, with his game. Never really seen him fight. And the rest of the card as well, I have not seen none of those fighters, so not going to speak about them, just about the 2 fights at the end. And that's all I really have to say for the Manuel Kape fight, really. You know, I think if he gets to win, gets to make a statement, he makes the division a little bit more exciting, and it gives, you know, Pantoja what you can call it. You can have a rematch, or Brandon Moreno, you know, if he wins his fight, he can fight Kape. So many things you can do with that division, and they're slowly starting to open up. You know, Kape and Brandon Royval, that would be a banger if they haven't fought. That's a good fight to make. So that division is getting a little bit more exciting, slowly but surely. It's there. So looking forward to watch that fight. And then let's get right into the Magomed, I can't even say his name. Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. So again, this fight was supposed to happen, or it did happen, at UFC 294 in October, 3 months ago. So a lot of memes were made of the stoppage of this fight. If you guys don't remember, I'll give you guys a quick reminder. You know, the referee asked Johnny Walker, "Do you know where you're at?" And he said, "A fucking desert, bro," which was the funniest thing ever. And then, you know, the doctor asked to stop the fight, and the fight was over. Who knows how if Johnny Walker was concussed or not, but it looked like he was ready to fight. And it looks like even when they stopped the fight, they were like, "Fuck it, come on, let's keep on fighting, forget everybody else." And it looks like they wanted to keep fighting, and it was looking scary because they were getting closer, like, "All right, we're fighting," and all these people were inside the octagon. So it was very weird, very interesting as well. So and it kind of gives some drama to this fight as well, because now these guys are chirping at each other, you know, and Ankalaev a bit frustrated, and you know, kind of blaming Johnny Walker for being goofy and being kind of silly, and that's why the fight got stopped. And Johnny Walker, you know, telling Ankalaev, like, "You know the rules, you shouldn't have done that to me," things like that. So they're kind of chirping at each other, and it makes just the fight exciting. And I said this on the live stream the other day for this fight. I'm excited even more now because how good Johnny Walker came out of that fight in the first round. And I know the fight only was, you know, a few minutes long, but, you know, Johnny Walker's movement was pretty nice, and he was showing some things, and he threw a flying knee in really early on as well, and just didn't have a clue where that fight was gonna go or what direction it was gonna go. So, seeing it now, both guys kind of got 3 minutes, to see each other and feel each other out in that first fight, and now they're gonna go in and really, they already had camp twice on both guys, or on each other 2 times, and to feel each other out, for 3 minutes. Now you go into this fight fully prepared, and there just won't be any excuses for anyone, whoever loses this fight. And again, both these guys well studied each other, and it just makes this fight, to me, a little bit more exciting, a little bit more technical, and everything they do will be very, 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 very intentional. So I just find it exciting, right? So I don't know who's going to win. I know the first time around I said Ankalaev should get the W, but I'm telling you, the way Johnny Walker came out of that fight and the way he was moving and showing things, I was like, wow, and I wasn't like blown away, but I just expected a slower start from Johnny Walker, and for him to start off that fast and explosive. And again, just footwork was looking nice. I was just like, wow, like he looks good. He looks like he's ready to get in there and possibly get the job done. So this fight is going to be 50-50. I think someone's getting put out, whether it's a sub or a TKO. I find it really difficult for this fight to go to decision. I can definitely see it, though, going to decision, but I don't think it's going to happen. So it's hard. It's really hard to pick one. And just for that, I'm going to go back to Johnny Walker. I know I picked Ankalaev in the first fight, but for this one, I'm going to go Johnny Walker, just because I think he is a little bit of a risk taker. And again, has done enough homework on this guy, has done 2 camps, and not saying that he's going to be better prepared, but I think in this fight, you will have to take risks, because what's on the line is a title shot, possibly, right? Whether it's against Alex Pereira or someone else, but it's a title shot. So, it's just exciting, and I think Johnny Walker could get it done, and maybe it's a flying knee or like an elbow, just something crazy like that. I can see Johnny Walker getting it done. So, but Ankalaev is a scary guy, and if he catches you, that's probably a good night for you. So, we'll see. But that's that. UFC Fight Night. We'll be watching the whole card, to get familiar with these fighters and see what's up with them. So, yeah. So, let's move on. So, earlier this week, I think it was Sunday. If not, it was Monday. But, Charles' fight got announced against Arman Tsarukyan, which is very exciting. And there's been a lot of speculation, you can say, on Islam Makhachev on why is he not fighting, and what injury he's fighting. And, social media is a weird spot sometimes. And, there was people posting story or videos of someone's story where Islam was kind of doing gymnastics, and it's like, how is Islam hurt? Or he doesn't look hurt to me. And to an extent, I might say, well, maybe it's something internally, right? But it also as well, we know a lot of fighters that go through camps with some form of injury. And, I don't know Islam, so I'm not even going to go say if he's fighting injury or not, but it seems like he's taking a vacation. It seems like he's taking some time off and is just enjoying it, to be honest with you. So I don't know what's up there. I think it's a little weird, right? And I think they kind of fucked over Justin Gaethje, especially if Charles is taking the Arman Tsarukyan fight. I mean, and if that fight got made, it was like, it just makes sense for Justin Gaethje to fight Islam Makhachev for the title at UFC 300 as well. And the fact that it's not happening, it's just like, what's going on? Why is Islam not fighting? Why is he not going to be at UFC 300? Why is he taking, 6 to 7 months time off? It's kind of weird. I want to say he fought in, when was it that he just fought? Let's see. Whoops. Sorry, guys. So he fought. Oh, really? You're not going to give it to me? Man. Really? So they fought in October. Okay, I thought it was the same card. Just making sure. So yeah, they fought in October. We're in January now. I think he's not gonna fight till May, June. That's 6 months from now. So you're almost having 9 months off, which is not trying to hate, you know, but these details are why I don't think Islam is going to be really remembered. You know, I want Islam to go on a crazy run, defend his title at 155, which he has yet to do, and he's going to be the champion shortly. I mean, I think he's been the champ. He's going to be the champion over a year now, and hasn't defended his title at with someone at 155. He's fought Volkanovski twice, and I get that Charles got hurt, but we expect the champion to be active and to be taking fights and defending his title. The fact that he's not going to fight till, you know, what is it, May, June? I mean, at that point, like, I think it's kind of messed up because Charles is going to go. He fought Manel, and I mean, not Manel. Yeah, he fought Manel, but, you know, he goes and fights Manel, and then now he's going to fight Arman. And, I mean, those are pretty two tough fights to get ready for. And then, you know, Islam's just fought Volkanovski twice. I don't know, man. It's just kind of weird. Not like, and I know I sound like a hater, and maybe I am, but I don't know. I don't like it, but if Islam is the truth, he'll stay champion, and if not, somebody will take his title. So yeah. Now I do also want to mention, you know, to get this clear, because I am a huge Charles Oliveira fan, and I think it's awesome that he took this fight against Arman Tsarukyan, because I'm pretty sure Justin, Dustin, Chandler, like, they don't want the business with Arman at all. So it just goes to show you what Charles Oliveira is about. So let's see. Charles fights recently, man. Beneil, now Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Kevin Lee, Jared Gordon. You know, I'm not going to go back further, but it's been, who is that? Nikki Lance. But, I mean, his resume is fucking crazy. And then he went to decision with, obviously Ferguson, but everything else was been finishes, and then when he lost. But we got to, I mean, Charles, like I mentioned too, it sucks that these are not title defenses for Charles, because if they were, you can really start making the argument of Charles being one of the best lightweights to ever exist. I know Khabib was in the division and really never lost a round, but what Charles is doing now, it's pretty insane, and it's pretty close to almost what Khabib has done. And I'm going to make a video about comparing Khabib and Charles one day. But it's just impressive what Charles is doing. And if he gets the win against Arman, it's just like crap. Like, this guy's beating literally everybody in the division. And, I mean, it would be insane. So, just want to say that. Let's move on to the next thing. So, Sean Strickland, you know, went on the Theo Vaughn podcast and, you know, I guess got emotional about it. And a lot of people on the internet I don't know, it was a pretty big deal apparently, right? And Sean Strickland talks a lot of shit, and you know, I don't know if the word is like trolling, but it's really outspoken, talks shit about everybody. And it's not really talking shit, he's just kind of speaking what he sees, and he's not saying anything that's new. He's not saying anything like surprising, like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, everything he's speaking about, like, we know this information already. But it's just the way he delivers it's a bit different, and it can seem arrogant or whatever, you know. And he goes on this pod and he starts to get emotional, and a lot of people are calling him a hypocrite, and how it's not okay that he says all these things about these people, but, you know, it's not okay that, you know, we talk about his childhood trauma and then he gets all defensive or, you know, emotional like that. So very weird situation with Sean Strickland, and I kind of wanted to say a little bit, you know, and it's very, you know, minor. Like I said, Sean Strickland, he doesn't say anything that's like surprising or new. You know, when he talk about Drake is, you know, whether he's gay or not, or what, you know, him kissing his coach or his coach grabbing his cup, like, we all knew this, right? And it is kind of sus, and Sean Strickland just says that. And I don't know if it's because it's Sean Strickland, like, it gets amplified more, You know, same thing with the Ian Gary situation. Like, we all know, like, that whole situation is kind of, you know, it's kind of not. I don't want to use the word weird, but there's something there that doesn't seem like it's supposed. Like, it's just not right. And Sean Strickland was outspoken about it, and kind of mentioned what a lot of people are already thinking. And I'm not defending Sean. I'm just, you know, putting things in perspective here. So again, Sean's not saying anything that doesn't exist or hasn't been said, or, you know, maybe it's just amplified because it's Sean Strickland saying it. And, you know, he goes on, and whether Drake has said something about his childhood trauma at UFC, whenever it wasn't recently, and they got into it, you know, he got triggered and he decided to make a decision, and that's his decision, right? And that's it. And now when he got emotional with Theo Vaughn, we don't know his relationship with Theo Vaughn. And yes, it seems a bit hypocritical that he got emotional, but it's not like, I don't know, he wasn't talking anything about fighting. He was just talking about his trauma, and he's never said anything about, hey, don't talk about my trauma, or like, that's not cool. I know, and that's where I'm a bit confused on the why people are low-key kind of hating on Sean for that. Because I'm like, he's not saying like it's bad that you guys are talking about it, or Drake is talking about it, you know. And if Drake did mention something and Sean Strickland got upset and decided to go after Drake, I don't see nothing wrong with that either. Because if someone said something to me and I didn't like it and I wanted to go after you, I mean, I just got defensive, and it is what it is, right? So if Sean Strickland says something to Ian Gary or Drake Duplessis and you got a problem with it, then do something about it. You know what I mean? And like I said, everything that Sean Strickland has said, I don't think he's crossing any lines, because he's saying what is already out there. He's not saying anything new. So I just don't see where Sean Strickland would fall into the category of being hypocritical. So just wanted to mention that, because, you know, I just thought it was a bit weird. And Henry Cejudo had to say that, you know, these fighters need to keep their emotions away from the fight game, like Volkanovski getting emotional, Sean Strickland, and I don't know who else, you know, talking about mental health. And I thought that was a bit strange. And I can understand why Henry Cejudo said something like that, because, you know, some fighters could use it against you, whether it's in a fight, press conference, to get to you. And I mean, and I don't blame the fighters that do use that. Like, it's a fight, you're trying to win, you're getting paid to fight, you know? So you're going to use everything you can to beat this guy, whether it's a mental game or a physical game. And I don't blame them. But I don't see anything wrong. You know, if Volkanovski gets emotional and he's fighting Islam, and Islam whispers in his ear and maybe calls him a bad father, or tells him that he's a crybaby, you know, like, it's up to Volkanovski how he's going to react to that. So it is what it is. I don't see nothing wrong with that. I think it's all, you know, good and bad that we get to see these sides of these fighters, because we look at these fighters as entertainment, and we just see them as fighters or killers, but, you know, they're humans just like us. So I'm there for it. I respect it, and I think it's pretty neat. And you know, it is what it is. So let's see, anything else before we move into some boxing? So Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua got announced this week as well. And the memes are there, like, oh, Francis announced. What is Dana White going to announce now? You know, it's funny because Francis Ngannou clearly walked away from the UFC to do what he's doing now. What, you know? So, but I think it's good for Francis, and I don't like seeing the comparison of Francis and Dana. Like, it is what it is. That's it. And they went their own direction. So Francis Ngannou fighting Anthony Joshua. I think this is going to be a harder fight for Francis, because we got to see how good Francis is. We got to see how serious Francis Ngannou needs to be taken. So I think Anthony Joshua is going to prepare like any other fighter, and probably like this guy's probably the best fighter I fought in a while. So I need to take Francis Ngannou serious, and I don't think Tyson Fury took Francis Ngannou serious, so we haven't seen Francis Ngannou really in adversity yet in the ring. And we don't still yet, he's obviously a really good boxer, but, you know, seeing more of him, we're going to get to learn more and his abilities. And this is a fight that low key, I think he could, Joshua being the technical fighter and knows how to land clean punches. I'm just like, this could be a really tough night for Francis. Now, the only downside to that, when Joshua, there's been times where he gets caught and loses his head and starts losing the fight, and it's kind of over for him. Right? We've seen this happen with Andy Ruiz when he lost to Usage, kind of lost his head completely. So if Francis finds a way to stay in the fight and make it a 50-50 fight, I think he has a really good chance. But it's going to be exciting, and it's just going to be exciting now to see Francis Ngannou win. And if he does win, it's going to be like, wow, this guy could be champion in boxing. And to have a champion in the UFC and then to be champion in boxing, I mean, that's unheard of completely, and it would just be incredible. So it's exciting, for me to see Francis fight and see what he's capable of against a fighter like Anthony Joshua. And if he manages to beat Joshua, like, man, if Francis Ngannou, he needs to be fighting for a title, So, yeah. All right, guys. Now, the last thing I have on the list is Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. Drama, you could say. So, last few weeks, Ryan Garcia had a fight. Devin Haney had a fight a few months ago. Shakur Stevenson. So these names had their fights a few weeks ago or months ago now. And Devin Haney was pushing a fight against Tank. And the fans wanted it. It looks like Devin Haney and his team wanted it. For some reason, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon. And I really doubt, really, really doubt that we're going to get that fight next year. I'm just sorry. I want to see it, but I don't think Tank's going to do that, Tank's going to just announce a fight against who knows who. And I just don't see him fighting Devin Haney. So, right, they try and probably move on from Devin, and then Ryan is calling out Devin. Let's make the fight happen. Devin's down. Let's fucking do it. Let's make the fight happen. And then out of nowhere, it's just like, nah, Ryan, I'm moving on from Devin. I'm going to fight Rolly Romero again now, right? And it's just like, whoa, what happened here? Like, you guys were talking about how you guys were down, and all of a sudden the fight's not happening no more. So the only way, or the only reason why this fight's not happening no more, it's because of boxing. And it sucks so bad because one of these guys, whether it's Devin or Ryan Garcia, one of these guys are being slightly hypocritical or two-faced or lying to the fans, because they talk about how we need to make the big fights happen, how, there's too many people involved or there's politics involved, things like that. And I'm pretty sure 90% of the reason why this fight's not going to happen now, sooner than later, it's because of somebody split and somebody wasn't happy with it. And it seems like to me that Devin Haney wanted a higher split than Ryan, a marginal, like a bigger split than Ryan Garcia. And Ryan Garcia said, hell no, I deserve to get maybe 50-50. And Devin Haney said no, right? And then Ryan Garcia said, oh, fine, I'll move on. And then that's that. I think that's what happened. And, you kind of got to ask yourself, does Devin Haney have the power to say, okay, I get 70, you get 30 to Ryan Garcia, right? And, maybe Ryan Garcia is not a championship fighter. He doesn't have any titles, but Ryan Garcia will sell you pay-per-views. He will. He just will. And Devin Haney against Ryan, that'll sell you a lot of pay-per-views, almost, if not as much as Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis. So when you look at those numbers there, I don't know what they are, but I'm pretty sure it's projected to be a lot of pay-per-view sales. And I think, if Devin Haney is the champion, the most or the least I would give Ryan would be 40%, and the most would be 50%, And I only say 50 because they're going to make a shit ton of money if they were to make that fight happen. So it's just like, why not 50-50? And whoever wins, we can run it back later and make this much money as again, right? It's an easy bag, I think, for both guys. And it's just like, it's kind of upsetting from both parties because they talk about to making these big fights happen, especially Ryan Garcia. And then now, and then that's why I'm a little upset with Ryan, because he's the biggest one pushing these big fights and talk about how these big fights need to happen. And now he's saying that, no, it's not going to happen. I'm going to move on. And it's kind of roasting Devin Haney's pay-per-view sales and making fun of him for that. And that's why I think it's something to do with the split. So kind of upset, that fight's not going to happen anytime soon. I don't really care to see Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia. Yeah, it'll sell you a few pay-per-views. Yeah, the beef is going to be pretty funny and entertaining. But, both fighters, like, what do they get out of, winning that fight, right? If Rolly Romero wins, who's he going to fight? Ismael Barbosa, running back with him. If Ryan Garcia wins, I mean, who does he fight next? Like, there's just no gain for either fighter, I think, if whoever wins that fight. So I think it's only a lose-lose situation. It's just like a money fight, entertaining fight. It's really not. It doesn't put you in a position to fight, anybody crazy, unless you go in there and just knock the shit out of, Ryan or Rolly. Then that's when you're like, okay, Ryan needs to fight Devin, or Rolly Romero needs to fight Devin, right, or something like that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Didn't have too much today. Like I said, pretty chilled week with the fight news and things like that. But next week, we're going to be cooking content, post fight of UFC Fight Night. And then we have UFC 297, which is Drake Duplessis versus Sean Strickland. And that's going to be exciting. And that card is exciting as well. And also, guys, just want to say thank you guys for everything, the support. Like, share, all the stuff. If you guys been watching, I do really appreciate that. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I hope you guys had a good Friday and got paid. Peace.